My mom slapped me so hard I crashed into the wall. She spat on me, and my bill laughed while they called me a gold digger, thinking my husband was away on deployment. But when the door opened and he stepped into the room, his next words left them frozen in terror. My back hit the drywall so hard a picture frame slid off its nail and hit the floor. 8 months pregnant, one hand on my belly, the other still holding the grocery envelope my mom had just ripped out of my grip. She called it his money, like I was some kind of thief who'd married into a paycheck instead of a person. My brother had taken $40 from that same envelope 2 days earlier. Nobody called him anything. He just stood in the doorway grinning while my mom spat on my sleeve and told me to get out before my husband came home and found out what I really was. I didn't grow up rich. I grew up in a house where my mom kept score of every dollar that moved through it. And once I married into a military family, she decided the scoreboard belonged to her too. At first, it was small things. A comment about how nice my new couch was. A question about whether I really needed maternity clothes that expensive. Then it became a key she'd somehow gotten copied without asking. And visits that weren't visits so much as inspections. I stopped arguing around month 5. My doctor had already flagged my blood pressure once, and every fight left me shaking for hours afterward. So I did what felt safer. I kept quiet, and I kept records instead. Every time my brother borrowed money and didn't pay it back, I wrote down the date and the amount. Every time my mom let herself in while I was napping, I noted the day and what she'd gone through. Every text where she called me a mistake my husband made overseas, I saved instead of deleting. I told myself it wasn't anger. I told myself it was just in case I ever needed to explain myself to someone who'd actually listen. That folder lived in the drawer by the couch, underneath the baby blankets I hadn't finished folding. The morning it happened, I'd put grocery money in an envelope on the counter, the way I did every week since my husband left for deployment. My doctor wanted me eating better with twins on the way, more protein, less stress, and groceries weren't cheap on one income, even with his allotment coming in. I'd barely turned around when my mom picked the envelope up off the counter like it was hers to open. Whose money is this supposed to be? She asked, already knowing the answer she wanted to hear. Mine, I said. Rude. She looked at me like I'd said something offensive. That's his money you're spending like it's yours. My brother laughed from the doorway, the same brother who still owed me for 2 car payments and a phone bill. I told her the twins needed real food, not a lecture. That's when she grabbed my wrist hard enough to leave marks and told me I had some nerve acting like a wife instead of what I actually was. I pulled back, lost my balance on the rug, and my shoulder slammed into the wall. The picture frame from our wedding hit the floor face down. She spat on my sleeve. My brother was still laughing when he said something about gold diggers always getting caught eventually. I didn't say anything back. I'd learned a long time ago that talking back just extended these afternoons. I put my hand over my belly and waited for it to be over, the way I'd waited through every other visit that started with a key I never gave her. That's when the door opened, boots on the carpet, still damp from wherever he'd come from. My husband wasn't supposed to be home for another 6 days. Orders had changed, and nobody in that room knew it yet, including me. He stood in the doorway for a second too long, taking in the frame face down on the floor, the mark already rising on my cheek, the envelope still crumpled in my mom's hand. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. He didn't raise his voice. That was the part that scared them more than yelling ever could have. He asked one question, flat and quiet. Who hit her? My brother's grin disappeared like it had never existed. My mom started talking fast, something about misunderstandings and how things looked worse than they were. He held up one hand and she stopped mid-sentence. I've been recording for the last 4 minutes, he said. My sister's already on speaker with the family readiness office. They can hear everything that's happened in this room. My mom's face went pale. My brother backed toward the door like the floor had gotten hot.